his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace.
For our testimony, we have Jose.
I feel like you rushed through this, Joseph. No, it's kind of low. Okay, so that's how I did my testimony, right? I'll let you guys know about how I got brought up. I ended up in the living the lifestyle of gangs and living in addiction and selling drugs. So this part is going to be about what took me to prison, right? So eventually the lifestyle caught up with me, running around with guns and drugs, driving without a license, eventually caught up to me. I went to prison, I did 5 years and some change. While in prison, I took recovery really serious because there was nothing else to do. Don't get me wrong, there was drugs everywhere and more easily accessible than what you might think. But when I took that choice it was time for a change because I reflected on the time I spent away from my daughter, and it's something I can never get back. So all I can do is just try and make up for it. So lately I've been trying to walk in the box the most I can, but sometimes I find myself on the edge. I feel like sometimes I get personally attacked, and it's all in my head. I mentally relapse. Those are real things. But what I'm doing forward to it, like as soon as I got out, I got enrolled in college, tried to better myself. I'm working at the farm, and here recently, like yesterday, I went and did a painting a cup for a company. They sent me to some building on McHenry, so hopefully I get hired on there as a full time. And yeah, everything's been going good so far. So recovery is not something easy. It's pretty hard. So let's just take it day by day, one day at a time. And I don't know what else I could tell you guys.
Who are you
Today,
today?
I like to consider myself a little bit more responsible, more empathetic. I have more empathy towards people. I feel their pain. And whenever I see somebody struggling on the streets, it makes me wonder what their story is, or how I could be of service to that person. Today I feel like I'm becoming a better version of myself. And yeah.
I have a question for you, Jose. When you find yourself getting close to the edge in that recovery box, what do you do to get back closer to the middle? What do you do to get back in that box?
So I do consequential thinking, and I play the tape through. And if the risk outweighs the reward, then it's not worth it, you know? Because the reward, if you stay sober, what's the reward? Anything's possible. The risk, I know what the risk is if I go get high. Downward spiral. And where's that gonna lead me to? 8 by 10, I'm cool. I'd rather be out here. So, positive thinking, reach out to some peer support, start thinking of the steps, and that's what I do to get back in the box. But mostly it's consequential thinking. What do I got to lose? All these 5 years I worked out, it's so hard to stay sober by my choice. Am I really gonna throw that away just for a little 30-second high? Or because I know as soon as I get high, I'm gonna regret it. I'm gonna be trying to kick my own ass, you know? Like, why did I do that? Instant regret. I don't know it personally because I haven't done it, but from experience from other people, they have relapsed, and they told me that was the first thing they experienced. Like, they didn't even feel the high no more, they felt instant regret. So, why would I put myself through that? Questions?
Where do you see yourself?
Where do I see myself?
Future.
In the future, I see myself as a productive member of society, right? Like it's a little cliche, but like that's what I just want to have my own spot, my own car, you know, something to come home to. You know, and eventually down the future, who knows, maybe even a wife, and whatever, you know. But just having my own spot, being independent, being responsible. That's it.
Luis,
Was it-
how you gonna get there?
How am I going to get there? One step at a time. One step at a time. I plan on getting there, but taking the initial steps, like having the willpower to get up in the morning and go to work, even if I don't like the job at first, because I know that one door opens others. So if I get into this job, then maybe some other job will open up further down the future. Better job, better pay, better wages, better hours, and going around the corners, not cutting corners.
What's the priority for you?
Priority? My priority is to prove to be that example to my nephews and nieces. Yeah, I was in the gutter, but I was able to rise up from it. So to be that example for them, not to follow. And
You got your business plan?
I do have a business plan, actually. I would like to just start a landscaping company and like from there do that on the side, apart from the regular job, so it could create extra funds and I could probably get there to owning a house a little bit faster, having a little nice nest egg and send my daughter off with to college with something, you know. Any other questions? Yeah,
You
Keisha.
started step work?
My step work?
Yeah,
I've been doing it for the past 5 years, Keisha.
right, what's that mean?
Huh? I already went all through all the steps. I worked all the steps with a sponsor in his prison.
Yeah.
But since I paroled, he stayed in there because he was a lifer. All my buddies were lifers, and I worked the steps, worked the groups, just like if I was a lifer with them. Even though I didn't have to go aboard, they made me dig deep. They made me write a lot. And unfortunately, there's still some of them are still in there, and some got out.
So you said you were talking about what led up to your 5-year incarceration. What actually did lead up to 5-year incarceration?
Oh, it was a it was just me running around thinking I was unstoppable. It was the God complex. I'm God, I'm unstoppable. F the cops, you know. So what? I'm carrying a loaded firearm. So what? I'm carrying 3 pounds of meth. So what? I'm driving without a license, speeding like a demon, you know.
How long did it take you to realize that that wasn't good?
How long did it take me to realize that wasn't good?
Yeah, not 5 years, but like a year.
No, it didn't take that long because as soon as you heard the cuffs on you, like they realized, like, all right, I knew this was coming. I knew it was going to eventually catch up with me. And as soon as you hear the click of the handcuffs, you're like, all right, game over.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, it's time to change. Because obviously it wasn't working.
Yeah, it took you about like 7 months.
7 months?
Yeah, 7 months. You did that.
Hey, Luis,
It's Jose.
Jose, I'm back with you. Jose, in the cycle of addiction, right? You know, you're going through all these things in your head and out there, people, places and things that affect your life, right? At which moment in your life or that period of your life was a aha moment for you? When did you feel like, oh man, I gotta do that, I gotta change the order. I'm gonna end up.
Okay,
dead.
so before I started back up, because I was sober for a year, right? And the moment I went to the smoke shop and I bought a pipe and I put one of my own rocks in it and I put the lighter to it, right before I hit it, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? That was kind of like, I know where this is going. So I said, fuck it, it's right, you know? And even then, I knew that I had to change, something had to give because I was living sober, I was living comfortable, had a job, had everything going on good, but just boredom, tired of the same routine is what got me to go, well, and it led me to the store to buy that pipe, to throw that rock in it and put the lighter to it. And when I first got out, I thought initially that carrying a lighter was a trigger for me, but in reality it ain't. I labeled it as a trigger, but because I associate this with smoking meth, you know? Because you go through hella lighters, right? But, so, for the longest time, for like 3 months, 4 months, I did not carry a lighter. But I realized that this has no power over that. It's not really a trigger. This does not trigger me to go smoke meth. It's just an object. But yeah, the aha moment came whenever I heard those metal bracelets, you know. And on the bus ride to the reception, that was the real aha moment. Here we go.
Are you grateful for that experience today?
Oh, absolutely. Because if that hadn't happened, I think I would still be out there struggling with my addiction. Yeah, who knows? Who knows where I would be at? Honestly, I have no idea where I would be. But one thing would be for sure that I would be struggling with addiction.
What will bring you back to the lifestyle?
Nothing can. I want to tell you, nothing can bring me back. But as long as I stand by what I know and use the tools that I have acquired, I can say that there's a great possibility that nothing will bring me back.
Can you play a scenario in your head? What will bring you back? What type of, moment, activity? I don't know, trigger.
Well, see,
Scenario.
it was all about fitting in, wanting to fit in with people and stuff. So, wanted a sense of abandonment, so a sense of being wanted. That's what led me to chase the gang lifestyle, chase to do drugs. So now I don't feel like that. I don't feel abandoned. I don't feel like I need to prove myself to nobody. I feel like I'm supported. I got a good support network. So as long as I maintain those people around me, I don't think there's a possibility. But who knows? Maybe a death in the family. I don't know. I'm not really close to my family, so if they die, the time came. It sounds cruel, but that's just how I look at it.
I ask because I had quite a few deaths in my family, and he took me this close to just throw everything away and say, fuck it. I had to hold on to something, that ultimate goal out there that kept me from relapse. So it's like what could bring me back to my own addiction of criminality. It was death of my family. That's one of the major things, and I have plenty of deaths in my family, and I conquer that.
You see, I don't have that relationship with my family that you might have to make you feel that way, But I can see how that would lead you to that.
So Jose,
Yes, sir.
when you think about that obsession, you mentioned that as soon as the cuffs went on you, it kind of like turned it up.
Yeah.
When you think about like that box, what things could you stop doing that can take you out of the box?
That's pretty hard. I don't know, because living this lifestyle, this form of life, recovery has been all I've been doing. And you know from one, how much work it goes to go to the board and get found suitable. And that's all I surrounded myself with people, because I did really want to see. I saw that change, and I wanted that change. And I still do want that change, because I want to be a better version of myself. So if I stop practicing those tools, if I start getting into I'm complacent. Oh, maybe I'll go over here and nobody will know. One joint ain't gonna hurt, But I know for a fact that once never enough, and once too many, and that's never enough.
Right. It's really good. And you bring up so many good points, man, and I hope that we are absorbing that experience, and that he knew that he wanted acceptance. And so if he knew that he was gonna be easily influenced by the people around him, he surrounded himself with people who were striving and who had major struggles, right? And he adopted their mindset. So even though he wasn't a lifer, he lived like a lifer, right? And so you're surrounded with lifers even here, right? That individuals who had to go through those same experiences. I encourage you to find you a new sponsor, right? If your old sponsor is you don't have access to, you have an opportunity to gain new sponsorship, to keep working the steps, right? Because if you don't work the steps, then it's easier to start sliding, right? It's easier to start sliding, and the same thing can happen. Like for some in this room, you're gonna be exposed to, even in here, we can't protect you from everything. Like, even in here, it's some people that's probably even sitting in here right now who done brought dope in the building, right? Who done brought dope in the house? Who done brought alcohol in the house? Who done brought weed in the house? Like, it's almost like, you know, something that's cancerous, and you go on a cancer ward and you take something that's cancerous on a cancer ward with people who are fighting cancer, you know? And it's that element that is in here. We ain't patting nobody down. We ain't stripping out to come in here, right? So it's not a sanitized environment, and we're dependent upon each person's own consciousness to come up in here. So when you think about that, like, how do you fight against that element when you're exposed to it, even in a safe environment, right? How do you fight against that?
At the end of the day, it's my choice. It's my own will. Like, you can have drugs right here in front of me, but I choose not to do it because
Right.
I know where that's going to take me.
Right.
It's my decision. It's not your decision. You can't influence me no more because I ain't got no power over me. Because I feel like I conquered that evil already.
And if somebody in this program, if somebody around you came to you and said, hey man, you wanna hear some of this?
Bro, you better get that away from me.
Right? Like, come on bro, ain't nobody gonna know. Like, here it is right here.
Nah, I'm good.
And then what do? How do you follow up with that person?
How do I follow? I ask him, well, hey, you good though? You want to talk something? What's bothering you? What made you go get that? Let's talk about it.
Right. So you don't just leave it at that, you spend some time with it.
Yeah, try to figure out what's really going on.
Right.
Because everything has a root.
That's the key.
Everything has a root.
Everything has a root, man.
So what triggered you to go get it? Like, what life experience? What did life do to you right now that make you want to go get that? You want to talk about it?
Who in here struggles with the obsession right now? Come here for a minute. I want you to imagine something, right? Like we used to sit in that chair the other day, right? And I want you to imagine. Now I want you to face this way. And you heard what he was saying, right?
Yeah.
I want you to imagine that what you're looking for is like right there, right?
Yeah.
And what you're looking for is like this instant gratification, right? Usually you chase it until what he said, you hear that? Bam. What happens? Like an awareness happens, right? As soon as them cuffs hit that wrist, it's like, oh shit, I was in a dream. I was in a fog. It's almost like you were like walking and you're doing your thing and then all of a sudden, what the fuck, how did I end up here? Like, we want to try to like initiate that feeling before it happens. We want to slow ourselves down enough so that we can initiate that feeling before it happens. Damn, we ain't got no key. Yeah, we do. You know, but when you, each time, you done been locked up how many times? More than 10? And each time you get it in, you right as soon as them cuffs come on, what happens? And when you're in jail, you be like, man, I can't wait till I get out, I'm gonna do better. Do you tell yourself that, or you just be like, fuck it anyway? Okay, so you got a long way to go, right? Because if it ain't affecting you yet, it will.
Yeah.
If it ain't affecting you yet, it will. Just keep on showing up. And I appreciate your story, man. I appreciate your experience. I appreciate your wisdom. I appreciate that, right? I want you to find a few people today and put them on. Help them break the obsession. All right? And if you're one of those individuals in the building and you bringing dope in the house, shame on you.